Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another coaching call with Samara and myself. This is coaching call number 4. First of all, Samara, welcome to the 4th coaching call.
Thank you, Spencer. It's wonderful to be here.
Yep, absolutely. I'm excited to dive in, of course, and talk about keyword research, specifically how to find low competition keywords. Before we do that, I guess, maybe let's get an update of where you're at, what you've done since our last call. Our last call, we kind of did a review of brainstorming niches and niche ideas. We kind of did a second call on that, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you can kind of give us an update of just what you did and where you're at.
Okay, so after that call, I got really busy looking to find my markets. And I think that second call was really helpful just to kind of fine tune the process, right? I felt like the first call, I got an idea of how it was supposed to go, but once you're doing it, you get all these questions. So the second call was really helpful to kind of hammer home the main ideas of the process. So after that, I think I had a lot more luck and I was kind of had a better idea of what I was doing. And so I found 4 different niches and I filled out my checklist and the spreadsheets. And I found a good number, I think, of doppelgangers.
Awesome.
Right? And then the other day we spoke about the possibilities and we finally picked one.
Yep.
So now we have our niche and we're ready to go. We're ready to get cracking. And I need to know what to do next. I need to know.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, we did sort of privately put in some work here. So people listening in on the call, we did do another call to review that checklist, that spreadsheet, some of the niches that Samara had found there. And like she said, she had 4 there, and there was a couple on there that we liked. And we've decided to not quite reveal, at least the way we're leaning. We're pretty sure we're going to go this way. I suppose that could change, but we're pretty sure we've kind of figured out what niche we're going to go into. But we want to give ourselves a little bit of runway of actually finding keywords and maybe even getting the site up and that sort of thing before we kind of publicly reveal everything. So we hope people listening in can just be a little bit more patient. We are going to still be doing these calls. We're going to talk about how to find low competition keywords, and it's still going to be just as an effective call, certainly for you listening in, to be able to learn the tactics and apply it to your own website. Just because we haven't revealed, the exact niche that Samara is going into quite yet doesn't mean that this isn't going to be useful information. And so that is where we're at. And so once we've picked a niche, the next step is to go and find low competition keywords. So you ready to dive into this, Samara, or what?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's taken so long. Come on.
I know, man. It seems like this process takes forever, doesn't it?
Oh, it's been the longest week ever.
Yeah. It's the most exciting time of the week right now.
It is. Absolutely. The highlight.
Man, a lot of pressure that I have here. So I do want to review the project itself. Again, if you recall, I had this slide on a previous call, sort of all the steps of what it takes to have a successful website, to have a successful project. So we're going to brainstorm general niche ideas, which we did, pick a niche through keyword sampling and site doppelgangers, which is what the last couple of calls have been on. And then today is we're going to begin the in-depth keyword research process. Okay, we're not on this call. We're not going to find hundreds of low competition keywords to create content on, but these are going to give you the principles so that you'll be able to do that on your own. So however big you want to make your website, hundreds of articles, if you want to do that, you're going to be able to use these principles that we talk about today on this call. So that's pretty much where we're at. We're at step 3 of the process. I'll just, show the rest of them here, same as they were before. So you can look forward to what we'll be doing in future weeks. So the goal today, or the goal of your site, I should say, is really to target long tail keywords in each article on your site. Okay, so we're not just writing content willy-nilly. whatever we want about. We are going to be finding keywords first and then writing the articles. Okay. And sort of a guideline, if you will, is roughly 100 long tail keywords in the first 6 months. Just depending on your own situation. I don't know. I guess I'll ask you, do you think you can either write or have published 100 articles in 6 months on your website?
Yes.
Okay. So what does that break down? So in 6 months, how many articles a month is that? Like 15 or something like that?
Something like that. Yes. And so it's 100 long tail keywords. And so it's 100 articles.
Correct.
Okay. And then, but these are like of varying lengths.
Yes.
No? Okay.
Correct. And I'm sure you'll have lots of questions about the types of content. We are going to do an entire call on content production, right? What makes a great article, how it should be structured, how to use the keywords and things like that.
Okay.
But you're right. They will be of varying lengths. So what is your sort of, how many articles do you think you can write or at least dedicate to this project in a week?
Oh gosh. I have no idea. I mean, however many you think I need to write.
Well, I'm just curious. Some people might only be able to do 2 a week because they're so busy, right? But it sounds like maybe you have more time, right? So you could do, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how many that is. Is that 1 a day? Is that 2 a day? Is that?
Let's say 1 a day. And is that a fair number? And then maybe I don't know how long they're going to be. I don't know. Is it research intensive? I don't really know what the guidelines are, right?
Right. And I'm not sort of holding you to anything at this point. I don't think you'll need to write 1 a day, right? Okay. So that would be awesome. And that would be tons of content. But some of the articles will be certainly more research intensive and maybe image heavy. So you're having to insert a lot of images or, inserting YouTube videos maybe that are relevant, so there may be some that take a lot of time, right? Because of the research and adding multimedia type aspects to it and that sort of thing. And then other articles might be a 500-word article that's very just informational and simple to write. They can be done in an hour, right?
Okay.
So,
well, maybe I'm being too ambitious. I have no idea. So I don't know. So can we say 4 or 5 articles a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be fantastic. I mean, that would certainly get you to, I think, 100 articles in 6 months. Okay. Right. And that's if you did it all yourself, right? Not using any budget to go hire anybody or anything like that. So.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, can I ask, in this project, will I be writing all 100 articles or will we be outsourcing or what's the plan?
We can do either. I think from what I have seen, you're probably an exceptional writer. And so you're probably going to have a lot better content if you write it yourself than outsource it. If you were to try and hire somebody, well, you know your rate, right? You're a freelance author.
That's true.
So that's what it would cost to get somebody of your quality to write articles. So we may do a mix of both. It kind of just depends on you, right? Okay. Do you have the time and the desire to do that? If you do, do it all yourself. You're going to get the best quality work. If you don't have the time, we can use some of that $500 budget to hire some authors.
Okay.
So, all right. And again, this is sort of recapturing what I just said, but we'll be writing articles that target these keywords, 1 primary keyword per article. And I do have a note here that we'll discuss how to include other secondary keywords in each article. All right. So we'll go more into that. So sometimes articles actually are really targeting 3 or 4 keywords, right? You kind of have a main keyword in your title, and then you might have a few other keywords scattered throughout the article itself, so you can capture more traffic. But we'll go into that strategy. The main point that I want to make, though, is about the keywords themselves and how to find them. And if anybody can hear a baby crying, that's on my end. Just ignore my 20-month-old son. We'll see how long he keeps that up. But
oh man, okay.
This is real life, man.
Totally. So I can go wake up my daughter if you like.
Have a little party, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So we'll just go with it. We're both parents, so hopefully we know how to tune out the crying here.
Absolutely.
So why long tail keywords? There's a few points here. First of all, there are more long tail searches then short tail searches overall. And I'm going to have a graph here to show you that. But approximately, I think it's 70% of all searches done on Google come through these long tail keywords. Okay. And second point is that they are easier to rank for because they're low competition. And finally, usually people are further along in the buying cycle when they type something in that's a longer phrase. Where do I buy this? Or how much does it cost to buy this? People are further along. And so you're going to make more money because they come to your website. They're ready to buy right now.
Okay.
So here's just a quick graph. It's the long tail graph. On the left-hand side of the graph, we have the blue section there is high traffic, high competition type keywords. So that might be something like, let's stick with the knife example. So that just might be if somebody types in the word knife, right, into Google. Yeah, there's probably tons of people searching for knives. But it's going to be really high competition. You're probably not going to rank for the word knife, right? But as you move to the right-hand side of the graph, that's where you get the low traffic, low competition type keywords. That might be a phrase like, what is the best survival knife? So it's a 6 or 7 word phrase that maybe only gets searched for 10 times a month, but it's super easy to rank for, and there is a little bit of traffic there, okay? So that's the idea, is that we want to be in this yellow section of the graph, the low traffic, yes, low traffic, I will repeat that, and low competition keywords. That's where we want to be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And I know you've seen all this because you were a member of Longtail University.
Yep. Looks familiar.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does. So a lot of this might be repeat for you, but hopefully you pick up a few tips. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Can I ask, long tail would be like 4 words or more? Or?
The actual definition of a long tail keyword really doesn't have anything to do with the length of the phrase.
Oh.
It actually has to do, see the shape of this graph? And in math, they all often refer to the tail of the graph is the yellow section. The tail is, as it approaches 0, it keeps going longer and longer and longer. If we were to extend out this yellow line, it would go on almost forever, right? We would get searches that are 10 times a month, 9 times, 8 times. And there might be literally billions of searches that get searched for 1 time a month, right? So this tail of this graph is almost infinite. All right. As it approaches 0, it's really, really long. So that's what actually long tail is referring to, is the length of the tail of the graph, which means just low traffic. So I know it's very confusing, and maybe it's just me being a sort of a stickler for definitions, right? But so it could be a 1-word phrase, and if it only gets searched for 10 times a month, that would be considered a long tail keyword.
Okay.
But for practical reasons, usually a phrase that it has more words tends to be searched for less times every month.
Okay.
Meaning, it probably is a long tail keyword. So for practical purposes, usually we're looking for, phrases that have 3 words or more.
Okay.
Right. So sorry, I'll get off my little soapbox definition, whatever you want to call that, but.
Interesting. That's super interesting. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, there's a whole book on this subject. I believe it's called The Long Tail, that I'd recommend anybody read. It talks about, sort of this whole definition of long tail commerce, right? And how Amazon revolutionized how we buy things. You used to go to a bookstore and you could only really see, the top 1,000 bestsellers, right? That's all a bookstore could hold in their whole store. And then Amazon came along and started selling all these very long tail titles, a book that maybe only sells 1 copy in a whole month, right? That it's definitely not a bestseller, but they were able to capture all of this infinitely long tail because it cost them nothing to list a book for sale on Amazon. It's a digital, page, right? And so it's revolutionized how we buy things. So we have much broader choices available in music and books and media. Anyways,
very cool.
It's a cool book called The Long Tail. It talks about this whole subject, but we are talking about it only in regards to Google searches.
Okay.
So there we go.
Gotcha.
again, I'm going to beat on this drum. High volume is not needed. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, right? So we're going for long tail keywords. We don't need that high traffic keyword. So this phrase, ways to make money from your website, is one that I happen to rank for. And it only gets searched for 10 times per month. So I'm going to actually share, let's see, not that it really matters, but I'm going to show people so they can get an idea, right? So here's nichepursuits.com. I wrote this article called 53 Ways to Make Money from Your Website, right? And so it's, a nice little article. It's got, all these different reviews of ways you can monetize your website, essentially, is what it is. And this, ranks number one for that phrase. That's great, right? Ways to make money from your website. But it happens to get, last month, 3,791 unique page views from Google in the last month. And people might think, well, how is that possible? He's only targeting a keyword that gets 10 searches per month. Well, when you target one long phrase with lots of words, like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words long, people, when they go to Google, they change that up. There's lots of variations. Here's just a few other keyword variations that I rank for. How to make money from a website. Ways to make money from website. Ways to make money from a website. How to earn money from website. How to make money on your website. And honestly, dozens, maybe hundreds of other variations I rank for. So yes, it's maybe each of these is only, less than 100 searches per month, but in aggregate, it's a lot of traffic, right? And I got that all by just targeting this one phrase, because it's so hard to predict how people are going to, I wouldn't have predicted that they would type in all these different variations. That's not possible. And so it doesn't necessarily matter that the one phrase you're targeting has low volume, because in aggregate, there tends to be lots of variations, and that can bring in significant amount of traffic.
Okay.
Does that raise any questions for you?
No.
Okay.
No, that makes sense. Okay.
And I know we've talked about it before, so it's less of a fresh idea, I suppose, at this point. Another example on one of my websites, I'm not ranking for best mouse pad, but something like that, right? It's best, blank. I don't want to say my keyword on just a niche website that I have that gets 50 searches per month. I targeted this keyword on purpose that got 50 searches a month, but it just so happens that now my article ranks for the key term itself, the shorter tail term, mouse pad. Instead of just best mouse pad, I actually rank for mouse pad as well, the bigger keyword that I wasn't necessarily going after per se, but my article just did really well. Last month, this article got 896 unique page views from Google. So much, much more than the 50 searches per month that Google says that term gets, right? Okay. And so this is actually sort of a different concept that is interesting. Just another reason to always target a long tail phrase. So if I would have just targeted mouse pad, maybe I could have ranked for that phrase, but I probably would have missed out on all these variations with the word best in it. It's better to always target the long tail phrase, because you might get both the long tail variations and the short tail. Whereas if you only targeted the short tail, you miss out on all that long tail a lot of times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. So there is absolutely no reason to ever just say, I'm going after this big keyword. I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to rank for I'm going to rank for credit cards. I'm going to just do that. No, go after the long tail always. And then you might still rank for credit cards.
Okay.
Right?
When you decided to target ways to make money from your website, there was probably other variations there with similar low traffic. And why did you, why would you pick one over the other? You pick the long tail, say you have like 10 variations. You target the one with the most traffic out of all of them, and then you potentially rank for all of them? Or could you target one of the ones with the lower traffic and end up ranking for the one with the higher traffic? You could, right? Yes,
you could certainly do that. And I think that actually is the case. I know one of these phrases gets like 300 searches a month or something. Like it might be how to make money from a website. Actually gets 300 searches per month, I think. So typically, if you have a list of keywords and they're all the same level of competition. They're, let's say they're all very low competition. I can't decide which one is easier or harder. Right. Then, go after the one that gets higher traffic.
Okay.
But if there's varying degrees of difficulty, usually go after the easiest to rank for.
Okay.
Right? So it's kind of a combination, sliding scale. You want to get one that's, for sure you can rank for, but also, is the highest traffic within that range or of those variations.
Okay.
So hopefully that made sense.
Yep.
Okay. So criteria of a winning keyword. I think I have an article to link to here in a minute. But so first of all, you want to make sure it's relevant, right? It just makes sense. Anyways, you also want to look ideally for high advertiser competition. Make sure there are lots of advertisers spending money, so it's a commercially viable keyword.
Do you need a minimum CPC for that, or as long as it's high?
I really don't look at CPC anymore.
Okay.
Yep. Oh. Maybe I would if I was monetizing my site exclusively with Google AdSense.
Okay.
But for the most part, I don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Yep. So here I actually am specifying search volume over 1,000 for a few of the keywords that you find. Okay. But it's not required on all. So if we have 100 articles, maybe 10 of those for sure. You do want to find some that have over 1,000 searches or more. Okay. I don't have an exact number there, but some of your articles you do want a minimum search volume, but not all. Next, you want to make sure, of course, there's low competition in Google, and we're going to talk about that in depth. Then you want to make sure there are similar sites ranking. Those weak doppelgangers and other niche sites is ideal. Longer phrases, 3 words plus, are usually easier to rank for, just kind of as a heads up, best practice. Okay, so examples of low competition keywords. So an example would be best survival knife. This actually gets searched for almost 10,000 times per month, so it's a very high traffic. It has high ad competition. CPC is 25 cents, but it has a keyword competitiveness of 25 and has weak sites ranking. So let's see here. I believe I can actually pull this up on Longtail Pro. I think I've got that. Yeah, here we go. Just so you can take a look at this, right? This is, of course, the one that I did for my first niche site project, but it still is relatively low competition. The reason, that I mentioned high advertiser competition, it's got decent number of searches. The keyword competitiveness is less than 30, which is great. And then the other thing is it has some low sort of domain authority doppelganger, websites that are ranking here, right? That are less than a year. And so it's still got some weakness here in the search engines. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to go over a lot more here on this call as well. Another one, best garden shears, gets searched for 110 times a month, has high advertiser competition, 65 cents CPC, KC of 27, and also has this sort of similar weak sites that are ranking there. All right. So I just want to throw out a couple of examples so we are sort of focused on the ideal of what we're looking for.
Okay.
All right. So how do we actually go out and find these low competition keywords? I use Longtail Pro exclusively. That's just the way that I do it. And so that's what I'm teaching. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. Basically, you go over to Longtail Pro, you input seed keywords from various sources. And we've talked about some of these already. But first thing I like to do is start with your own brainstorm, sort of just with almost, pen and paper, maybe not pen and paper, but, type down what keywords come to mind when you think of this niche. What should be covered? What are some, seed keywords, if you will, right? So if we're going into the gardening niche, what are some gardening tools that we can think of? Let's write those down. And then, of course, use keyword modifiers, and I'm going to have another slide on that. We can use Amazon and eBay to come up with seed keywords like we did on our previous call. You can go over to Wikipedia and do that, which I don't know if you want me to show you an example or if that just makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense.
Okay. Yep. You can go over to niche forums. So you can go to Google and type in gardening forums. And then, you go into that forum and you see what topics they're writing about. And I'm sure there would be gardening tools or gardening tactics that we had never considered, right? That would make great seed keywords. So forums really are great places to go to find seed keywords. The Google autocomplete, and I put Uber Suggest in here because it's a tool that essentially does that for you. But I think everybody knows what that is. You type in the start of a phrase and Google completes other suggested phrases. It's a great way to come up with ideas. Google Trends is another great way to see related topics and what, of course, is trending. And other niche sites. And this can be done through SEMrush that we've talked about in the past as well. You can look at their keywords that they're ranking for. And so
I'm sorry, would you use the keywords they're ranking for as your own seed keywords?
Well, I might do a little bit of both.
Okay.
Right? Usually I will find what I would consider weak websites and then sort of just steal their keywords.
Right.
Right?
Borrow, right? Maybe
borrow, yeah. Borrow and maybe never give them back.
Right, exactly. Okay, gotcha.
But you could also use it as a brainstorming tool to input seed keywords.
Okay.
Right? If you come up with some great ideas. And we're going to go through some examples. So right now is sort of, I'm in presentation mode. We'll get through a couple of these, but we'll pull up some examples here in a second.
Okay.
Keyword modifiers to consider. So this might be even after you've run some seed keywords through Longtail Pro. It could be before or after. Maybe Longtail Pro didn't get every single suggestion out there. You can do this on your own. If you come up with your niche, I have some basically templates, right? So I put best and then the two blanks there, an example, best survival knife. So everybody's pretty familiar with that one. Using the word best really is a great modifier. The word reviews as well. So survival knife reviews, that is probably a great keyword to write on. And we could do this for any niche, right? So gardening shears reviews. What's another one? I don't know, podcasting microphone reviews, that sort of, any niche, it works. So the blanks are, you fill it in with your niche, your keywords. Verses are great. Gerber versus K-Bar. These are two brands of survival knives. Best blank brands. This could be best knife brands. Best, mattress brands. Best whatever, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's a great keyword. Just about any niche. Where to buy blank. Where to buy a survival knife. Another little favorite formula of mine is this one here. Survival knife under $100. It could be survival knife under $50, survival knife under $500, right? It's sort of a great little keyword modifier that works across pretty much any niche.
Okay.
Right? And those are almost always low competition. So little trick.
Great.
I know we're going through this slide fast, but I'm telling you, it's a gold mine. Any niche, you can apply these few points, right? And I will just say that in Longtail University, as you know, Samara, this is just a very small sample of the cheat sheets that are in. This is where I got these, is from Longtail University. There's, dozens more of sort of the fill in the blank keyword modifiers on that cheat sheet in Longtail University. So how to analyze the competition. All right. So this is going to be the critical aspect of picking all of the keywords. If you get this wrong and accidentally go after really hard to rank for keywords, it's probably going to be really hard to rank for those keywords. So you need to make sure you really do analyze the competition and target those low competition keywords. And I have an article here that I've linked to at the bottom that I wrote, believe it or not, in 2011. So 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it is still just as applicable today as it was 5 years ago.
Wow.
All right. So these principles really haven't changed. Yes, there's been lots of Google updates and that sort of thing, but it really hasn't changed how you look at the first page of Google, right? So if anybody wants a refresher, I would recommend going to this article and reading it. Yeah, June 14th, 2011.
Wow. Okay.
This is, let me review everything that I talked about. Basically what you see on this slide came right from that article. All right. So when you analyze the competition, your competition is the first page in Google. All right. And tons of people don't really ever grasp this concept. They start looking at, well, how many results does Google say there are? I type in survival knife into Google and I get 1 million results. That means it's really competitive. Well, no, you want to rank on the first page. You just need to be concerned with who's on the first page. So I do want to drill that home. That's all we're looking at. Okay. And then I'm going to bold the first 2 points here, because if you get these first 2 points right, you're 90% of the way there. These others are sort of fill in the gaps after that. So keyword competitiveness, of course, is the metric within Longtail Pro that is a number between 0 and 100 that specifies how difficult it might be to rank for. And without going into a whole dissertation about what it is, basically 30 or less means it's probably low competition. The lower, the better, right? If you can find under 25 or even under 20, I mean, that would be huge if you can find under 20. But under 25 is like amazing as well. Under 30 is like, yeah, that's pretty decent. Okay. And I list this first because it's a formula that does take into account almost every single other point that I'm going to list. So this KC metric almost does it for you. I say almost because there's still a couple of things you want to look at. All right. The next point that, again, is bolded here is you want to see that there are a couple of results that have both low domain authority and low page authority. Okay. That is the preferred situation. If those results can have under 30 PA and under 30 DA, then, we might be good to go. And I feel like I should probably pull up an example so I'm not just talking theory too much. Right? So I've got best survival knife pulled up again, of course, already. So first of all, KC, it's a 25, right? So checked that box. Next thing is I want to see 2 results that have under 30 page authority and domain authority together. So this third result, knifeista.com, has a page authority of 29 and a domain authority of 22. So that checks 1, right? And then I want to find another one. And here, this one is whatever it is, topspectus.com has a page authority of 26 and a domain authority of 29. So there we go. We nailed it. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you need to find a domain that fulfills both of those criteria.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So this one, knifecenter.com, does not fulfill that. Even though it has a page authority of 27, it has a domain authority of 44. So it's, I don't like that.
Okay.
Right. And again, this doesn't mean you couldn't rank for a keyword if it didn't have any of those, but this is just a more sure way of finding low competition, right? It's sort of boxes you can check and say, yep, that definitely meets that criteria.
Okay.
These are the 2 bolded aspects. Okay. So if you don't get anything else right, get these 2 right.
Okay.
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 So the others that I'm going to go over here, relevant page title and content. This really is pretty critical. And I have in quotes there, Spencer likes honeycombs. Now, I'm going to test your niche pursuits knowledge. Are you familiar with that phrase?
God, okay. Man, I feel like you created a website, or I know I've seen it somewhere. Did you create a website where that was something and it ranked first and I'm probably making it up. I know.
No, you're pretty close. Yep. No, you're pretty close. In fact, it's actually this article right here. So I go through this live experiment during this article when I wrote this back in 2011. And part of this blog post is I was trying to drive home this ever critical aspect that if the top 10 results in Google are not really targeting the exact keyword phrase, so like Spencer likes honeycombs, that means even though they might be really authoritative websites, if they're not targeting the exact phrase, it's probably still a low competition keyword. Okay. And again, I try to drive this point home in this article. So, I show that, hey, birthday cakes. Anyways, I make a few points in here, but how relevant? So down here, I did a Google search, and this is, I typed in Spencer likes honeycomb. So who's showing up? And I kind of showed these are some really authoritative websites that are targeting, that are ranking number one for Spencer likes honeycombs, right? But none of them were using the exact phrase. I made the phrase up, so of course they weren't, right?
Right.
So you can see bolded within the Google results, nobody is using Spencer likes honeycombs, even though if I were to pull these up, and I don't know if I had it listed in the blog post, but they would have had a domain authority, a very high domain authority and a very high page authority, right? Perhaps. But because none of them are targeting that exact phrase, all I did is I predicted, I said, you know what? I bet as soon as I say it right here. To make my point even more vivid, I'm going to guess that this post will soon rank very high, perhaps number one, for the keyword Spencer likes honeycombs. The reason simply because I am mentioning the keyword in my article, right? And so I put in bold, Spencer likes honeycombs. And that's all I did. I didn't link to it. I didn't even make it in the title of my article. And sure enough, in fact, I think the very first blog comment within, obviously it's the same day, you are already ranked number one in Google for Spencer likes honeycombs. It's within like an hour, right? 10 minutes, sure. It took less than 10 minutes, right? It's because nobody else was targeting that exact phrase. Google goes first on relevance, okay? And then authority is second. So it's an important point because if we are targeting really long tail phrases, these are phrases that might only get searched for 10 times per month. And the chances are really good that there's not another website on the planet targeting that exact phrase. And so all we have to do to rank number one for that phrase is use it in our article, right? Mm-hmm. No link building, no crazy authority on our website. That doesn't happen for every keyword, but there are keywords out there that's all it takes is you put it in the page title of your article and you'll be number one.
Okay.
Right?
So do you think now it has to be in the page title or just anywhere in the text?
Yeah, anywhere in the text. I mean, if it really is as easy as like Spencer likes honeycombs, which is a phrase I made up. So maybe it's a true phrase. I want to clarify that. I do enjoy honeycombs, but nobody's searching for that. So there are words that you can rank for, even if it's not in your page title. But certainly if if that's your primary keyword that you're trying to rank for, you should just use it in your page title. Okay. So we'll talk about secondary keywords that won't be in our page title that we will use in our article sort of as subpoints. And, we'll hope to rank for those as well. And again, that comes back to this relevancy factor. All right. And so when we go over to Longtail Pro, maybe I need to pull up some other examples.
Yes, an example would be great.
I have a few here. Let's see if any just in my existing campaign. If not, we'll come out and. So where is it? So here's one phrase, right? Ways to make money from your website that I used as an example previously. Mm-hmm. So as you look at this, most of the results, like number 3 is how to really make money from your website. It's not using the exact phrase, ways to make money from your website. So I'm seeing they're using some of the words, but not all of the words. And so even though, it might come back, like even in this case, it shows that it has a high KC, but that's mainly calculated on, page authority. So there's very authoritative pages, very authoritative domain authority. So looking at this, we probably wouldn't target this keyword. And maybe this is going to raise more questions than it answers, but the relevancy, even though it looks competitive, because nobody's really targeting this keyword, you could rank fairly easly.
Well, that is confusing, right? Because that
let's just delete this last 2 minutes of this call, right? No, so that starts to get a little too technical. So maybe that is a bad example. It would be a perfect example if this said it was a KC of 25 or something, right?
Right. But you would have to have enough authority, right? Right. There'd be other factors, right? Not just because you target it word for word, you could beat all these other guys.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're bringing me back to reality. Even looking at this, I still wouldn't recommend targeting it unless you had an authoritative website like nichepursuits.com, right? So maybe that's what I was thinking. For my website, I just wrote an article on it and I'm ranked number 2, right?
Right.
But probably for a niche website, you wouldn't target something like that. So,
but I'm sorry, can I ask, the keyword is ways to make money from your website.
yeah, yes.
But the guy above you, ways to make money online, is not 100%.
From a website.
But he uses online, right?
Yes. Let's see.
But
but he includes all the words. Ways to make money from website. So he has 100% of the words there, but they are broken up a little bit.
I see. Okay. It doesn't have to be in the same order.
Not necessarily. That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Confusing.
Let's maybe find a less confusing example.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe I don't have a good. Let's see if I can look at. Well, let's type in some seed keywords. Let me see if I finish. Let me finish this slide, and then let's go do some examples.
Okay.
So relevant page content. Do they have root domains? Ideally, you want to see subpages. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you want / blah blah blah.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep. Exactly. So if everybody ranking it's all the root domains, that might be a sign that, hey, this might be a little competitive.
Okay.
Site age of less than a year is ideal. Again, it's not required though. These two bold ones are the required ones. And under 30 juice page links is ideal.
Okay.
Okay.
So really, as long as it meets these first two criteria, it's the green light.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So these others kind of are factors that all come into play to build out domain authority and page authority, right? And the KC metric. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of examples. So let's punch in some seed keywords. So we were looking at the gardening niche, and we thought that maybe it was a good idea. Should we stick with that, or would you like to look at some other niche?
No, I think gardening would work.
Okay. Boy, and let me see if I can find that old campaign. Where was it? Let's see. There's the chainmail one. Remember that?
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes. It was in my nightmares, yeah. In my bad dreams. In retrospect, I think, what was I thinking? But it was good to go through that example.
Here we go. I think I found. Here's some gardening keywords. Okay. So our criteria, our first criteria is find KC under 30. So let's just pull up this one. Best pruning shears for roses. It's got the KC of under 30, so green light there.
Okay.
And then what are we looking for?
Then we want page authority of less than 25. Correct?
That would be great. Yeah, under 30 is the max criteria I put though. Yeah.
Okay. So the second one has under 30, 22.
Yep.
But the domain authority is over 30, so that's
correct. So that's no good.
Okay. But the one below it looks promising, 23 page authority.
Yep.
And a domain authority of 26.
Yep.
Okay, so that's one good sign.
That's one good. We'd like to have two, right?
Now, these guys with a page authority of 1, you said you need to have the domain authority. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. And so I can't remember if I explained this on our recorded call or not, but so if you see a page authority of 1, that just means that Moz probably hasn't calculated it quite yet. And so in order to get an estimate of what the page authority would be, you look at the domain authority and you divide that by 2. So this would be 16.
Mm-hmm.
So the estimated page authority is 16 on this one.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yes. But it's not, the domain authority is not less than 30.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that doesn't work. And then the second to last domain is a 20, which is promising, but the domain authority is over 30. So that doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? This keyword is not.
This keyword isn't, let's say, ideal, right? So the ideal is to have 2. That's like golden ticket, no brainer. Let's do it.
Could you put this keyword in your back pocket and say later on,
yes,
once you're up and running, you could probably have a better chance of ranking for it?
Yes. And we'll look at lots of different keywords, of course. So that's the ideal. I would still probably record this one. It does have at least one very good sign of weakness. Like I said, the ideal situation is to have two, but I still would, exactly as you're right, probably document it and put it for either later on or, just down the road to write about. So it's not a bad keyword. And I mean, you could probably rank for this keyword. I mean, it's got a KC of 21. It's just not that perfect golden ticket.
Okay, so it's not written in stone, right? There's flexibility.
There is absolute flexibility, and I will say that is one of the hard things of me trying to provide a formula here. Is I'm doing my best, right? That there is a little bit of an art form to keyword research.
Okay.
Right, and so this is one that, looking at it, it's pretty overall. I mean, we've got several that have low page authority, 1, 2. And then, this one would be low page authority 4. So, we've got 4 that are low page authority, and we've got one that's less than a year old, and we have, this one with really low domain authority. So I probably would target this keyword. Okay. But it's really easy to document in a presentation in a formula sense with what I stated previously, right? So there is a little bit of an art form here, but to kind of guarantee that, yes, I've definitely got low competition keywords, I would stick to the 2 results.
Okay. It's not black and white. I get it.
It's not black and white.
Gotcha. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
The KC usually does a pretty darn good job. I will say that.
Okay. Gosh, and you have to find 100 of these, right?
Over 6 months.
Okay.
We don't have to do it today, right? Okay. Or the next week.
All right.
Right. Okay. That is the ideal.
Okay.
So let's pull up maybe another one.
So you're going to ignore any of them that have low advertiser competition?
Those usually wouldn't be my money articles.
Right. Okay.
If you had a gardening website, this might be a great article to write, how to use a weeder tool. But it's not you don't want most of your keywords to be low advertiser competition because there just isn't as much money there. Okay. You can sprinkle it in there for information and reader enjoyment.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So what we're looking for are money keywords.
Yes.
With this process. Okay.
Yep. Gotcha. Yep. So, another one. Let's see if we can find a good one here. Best weed puller tool reviews. So
that's got 2 of your best in reviews. It's a good looking keyword, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Pretty one. All right.
So this has got, I think we did it. So it's got the number 4 result here, right? It's got low page authority and low domain authority, and the number 6 result has low page authority and low domain authority. Okay. Right? Yep. And the KC is under 30. So this is a no-brainer.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I got it.
I'm almost wondering if I should tell you to lighten up on your criteria. If you're having a hard time finding 2 results with low domain authority and page authority, you can go to just having 1. Okay. Right? But definitely try to find 2 if you can. Those will be the easiest of all.
Okay. Those would be the ones you would target first anyway, right? Yep. And then, okay.
Yep. Gotcha. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, we could probably go over examples all day long, but I think if you got the principles, which I think you do, you can probably do this on your own.
Yep, I think I can.
Okay. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, additional tactics to quickly find low competition keywords. So ubersuggest.org, it is a great way to kind of find bulk keywords. So I'm going to pull that up.
Did you do an example? Yeah.
Yes. My internet connection is slow, or Ubersuggest is down. Oh. Let's see. Oh, maybe we can't do Ubersuggest right now. It's not pulling up for me. Oh. Is it working for you?
Let me see. It's certainly taking its sweet time.
Yeah, it's saying the page is currently unavailable. Oh, yeah. Wait. Well, let's move on to the second one while it's loading. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on.
All right, mine's taking forever to load.
Mine did pull up, so maybe let's try it.
Okay.
Let's give it a shot. So this is really just like an autocomplete function. Okay. Right. So it goes to Google or Bing and does the autocomplete for you. So you just type in the beginning of a keyword phrase and it pulls in all the suggestions. So let's let's start a keyword phrase in the gardening niche. So we could start with, I don't know. Can you think of any ideas?
Well, I don't know how specific you need to be in Uber Suggest or how broad.
I would just start with like a 2-word phrase, right? So we could do gardening tools, maybe.
Okay.
Or, yeah, let's try that. Why not? Just an example. Gardening tools. And then we hit suggest. And if the website works, it, pulls up other results.
Theoretically.
That's the idea. Oh, here we go. 301 suggestions found. So we got things like gardening tools list, gardening tools names, gardening tools Amazon, gardening tools and equipment. This may not be the best list, but gardening tools beginners.
Okay.
Gardening tools. Okay, there's some interesting phrases for beginners, for arthritis, for handicap, for weeding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they're for Mother's Day. Okay. Some ideas I wouldn't have thought of. And then you select all.
Okay.
And click the Get button over here. Then I just come in here and I missed the first letter. I just copy all of those. Control C. And then I come over here to Longtail Pro. And I click the add my own keywords. And the reason we're doing this is because this will then allow us to look at the competition levels and search volume levels. And
right.
Uber Suggest just gives us the raw keyword. So I just paste that in, hit generate keywords, and it'll just take a minute here. And then we'll be able to go through and kind of look at everything else.
Okay. So you would never target a keyword without looking at the stats first, right? Just not because you think, the obvious next keyword that I would target because of the flow of the website or the kind of topics I'm addressing would be such and such. You always look at the competition, right? You don't just blindly pick a keyword and go after it.
Yeah, I usually do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So let's click on a few here. It looks like I've already got my word filter in here. So this is only showing results that have 5 words or more. And actually, this is a good time to show off the new feature of Longtail Pro. Why not? So this is in beta right now. We have the ability to fetch all of the data with one click, which I'm going to do right now. Fetch now. And it said it's going to take about 8 minutes, I think is what it said. So we'll let it go through a few of these, and then we'll maybe look at a couple. But that's essentially the idea with Uber Suggest is you just copy and you paste everything right into Longtail Pro. And then you do exactly what we just did previously. You start looking at the first page of Google and see how low competition it is.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So these first few are already pulling up. Are these? Oh, gardening tools that start with G.
I can't imagine an article about that.
Look at that. That gets searched for 90 times a month. I cannot believe that. 3 people every single day are typing that into Google.
That's kind of weird.
Why?
Yeah. Yep. Hard to say.
I mean, that would be, you said maybe it's not that great of an article. I think it's a great article, right? You have like a list of here's every gardening tool that starts with G.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's look at that one because it's so weird. So let's see if it meets our criteria here, hopefully. Oh man, this one's easy. So yeah, this is like number 1 overnight type
right.
keyword. I mean, nobody's even close in their phrase, right? Here actually is a 1 result beginning with G. Nobody else really is talking about, the alphabetical nature of the gardening tools. But yeah, I mean, we can see we've got low domain authority all over the place. They also have low page authority all over the place, right? If we divide that by 2 and yada, yada, yada. I mean, this is like, yeah, you read an article, you rank for it.
Okay. Well, that's a good example then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Gardening tools at Home Depot is, on the other hand, one you probably don't want to write about. Right? The Home Depot is every single result. Look at that. So there you go. That makes complete sense. And It only gets searched for 10 times a month, so definitely don't write about gardening tools at Home Depot.
Okay.
Uber Suggest. Any questions? That makes sense?
No, yeah, that seems like a great resource.
Yep, it definitely is. And you can see how easy, I mean, we could come through here, and I'm guessing that probably a half of these at least that have under KC of 30 are like going to get that sort of golden ticket go ahead, right? So maybe it's not going to be as hard as you think, hopefully, to find 100 keywords in the next 6 months. Hopefully. Right? Okay. Maybe we should go back to gardening.
Yeah, totally.
As our niche here. So I'm really giving somebody like just all the easy answers if they want to build a gardening tools website.
Totally.
The other example, which really we've done, right, is go to SEMrush and you can steal the keywords from your competitors. These are these doppelgangers that we talked about. And so, I don't know, do we need to go through that process again, or do you think you're...
No, I understand that, but a question. So would you go to a doppelganger, you look at the words they're ranking for, the keywords they're ranking for, and do you need to plug it into Longtail Pro to look at the stats, or?
Yes, I still would go plug them into Longtail Pro and look at the stats. Yep.
And so if they have to comply with your criteria, no?
Yes, I would still recommend that they comply with my criteria.
Okay.
Yep. But the good news is you already know you have one of the boxes checked, right? Because you got it from a doppelganger in the first place. Right. So there's already one there. And then if you can find a second one, it's like, no brainer. Let's do it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Gotcha. So we won't go over that example since we kind of did it on a previous call. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is pretty much it. We're wrapping up here. Okay. All right. So you've got an assignment. You ready for this?
Talk to me. What is it?
All right. I want you to try and find 20 low competition keywords for your niche website.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Use the various methods we talked about to input seed keywords, at least 3 keywords with search volume of 1,000 or more. So that could be a little bit more difficult there.
Yep.
But let's see if we can do it. And then the remaining 17 search volume doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the example. You have a week to try and do that.
Okay.
And hopefully the principles in this presentation will help make that pretty easy.
Yes, I seem to understand it, right? Sometimes when I try to do it on my own, I get all the questions come up, but it seems pretty clear what I need to do.
I think you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Hopefully I'm doing a better job. Like when I did Perrin this exact same process, he came back almost just like you did from the last call, and he sort of had a set of keywords and they were all wrong. Right. Okay. I was like, no, we can't use a single one of these. Like, this is terrible. Like, where'd you come up with these ideas? No, it wasn't that bad. But, we all had to start over and go through the process again. So I changed up just a little, what to focus on, now, Niche Site Project 3, and hopefully that works. And I think, it sounds like you got it down, so I'm confident you'll be able to find these 20 and have no problem at all.
Okay. I feel good about it too, but in case I have any problems, I know where to find you.
Yep. I will be here. Absolutely. So any parting words, any shout outs you want to give to any fans? You have many fans now out in the Niche Pursuits land.
I find it hard to believe I have fans out there,
do.
But, well, then I'd like to give a shout out to all my fans. It's just probably my mom if she's listening.
There you go.
That's about it. But yeah, this looks great. I'm super excited to get cracking, and I'll probably start right now. Basically.
Perfect. That's good. I like it.
Okay.
Ambitious. So very much. I appreciate your time and everybody listening in. Thanks for following along, and hopefully you learned a thing or two. So thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Spencer.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.